China in the last 24 hours has been ratcheting up its rhetoric against the U.S. as there is growing U.S. concern about the possibility that Beijing is at least considering arming Russia in the war in Ukraine. Today, China's new foreign minister said that the U.S. and China are hurtling towards, quote, confrontation and conflict unless Washington changes course. And this as China's President Xi, in a very rare statement, blamed Washington for the deteriorating relations Monday, saying the U.S. is trying to contain China. That is a Cold War buzzword, according to state media, saying Western countries led by the United States have implemented all-around containment, encirclement, and suppression of China, which has brought unprecedented severe challenges to our country's development, according to China's official news agency. Joining me now, Jeremy Bash, former chief of staff at the Pentagon and the CIA. So first I want to untangle what's happening with the U.S. and China and then get to Bakhmut in Ukraine and whether that city is worth the casualties, that Ukraine is suffering to try to hold it. But these are very unusual statements by President Xi. Why now? And why so confrontational?
Well, at the end of 2022, Andrea, and the beginning of 2023, China was on sort of a charm offensive. They realized that their zero COVID policy had utterly failed. They realized their growth was only about 3%, which is for China a recession. And they were reaching out to the West. They actually believed that their integration into the global economy required better relations with Washington. But China was trying to have its cake and eat it too. And they were talking openly about arming the Russians in their fight against Ukraine. And that's when Secretary Blinken went to the Munich Security Conference and called his Chinese counterpart out on this. And the United States publicly described some of this information it was collecting. And this has U.S. policymakers very worried. Right now in Ukraine, it's a frozen conflict. If China gets involved on behalf of Russia, that could materially help Moscow. And the United States is putting maximum pressure on China not to do that.
What about the China balloon? Did that add to it? Was that an embarrassment?
Yeah, I think my view of that is that probably Xi Jinping wasn't tracking the exact whereabouts of the balloon. But certainly that has inflamed tensions because we've grown concerned over many years about Chinese surveillance capabilities, both their cyber attacks, their use of social media platforms like TikTok and other platforms to collect data on Americans. And this balloon surveillance was yet another manifestation of Chinese efforts to surveil the United States and collect intelligence on our military.
And Kevin McCarthy, the speaker, of course, had campaigned saying that he would go to Taiwan, as Speaker Pelosi did, to the annoyance, aggravation, of course, of the White House and the State Department. Well, now he's not going. According to all reports out of Taipei, the Taiwanese president is coming here and will meet in California. That's kind of dodging a real irritant, or will it be an irritant just to have her on U.S. soil?
Yeah, and I think what's happening is we're getting some signals from Taipei. Both the House Speaker is getting some signals, as well as the executive branch is learning what the Taiwanese really want to see unfold in the context of U.S.-Taiwan relations. One of the things that's very important, though, is that we're going to continue to arm Taiwan and provide it with important capabilities that it can use to become a porcupine, as they say in military parlance, which has basically become a very difficult animal to swallow, so that China cannot create the military capability to invade Taiwan by 2027, which is what Xi Jinping has said he potentially wants his military to be prepared to do.
And there was real concern that the military reactions from China to a visit by the speaker would be even worse than the flowing missiles, which they did over Taiwan last time around. Let's talk about Ukraine. And is Bakhmut really worth the Ukraine, standing to fight? Zelensky has now confirmed again that they're going to stand and fight.
Yeah, it's the modern-day Stalingrad. I mean, it's been totally decimated. The population has been evacuated. So it no longer really has strategic value, but it has powerful symbolic value, Andrea, because the Ukrainians don't want to see that Russian flag hoisted over the city of Bakhmut. And here is where there's been not just block-to-block, street-to-street fighting, there's been a hand-to-hand combat. This has been the toughest fighting of the war, and the Ukrainians, to their unbelievable credit, have held tough. They have fought not just the regular Russian forces, but the Wagner Group irregular forces, and they have been able to really hold the Russians at bay there.
To win, do they need F-16s or some sort of air-powered drones, something?
I think eventually we are going to have to provide them air power in some form or fashion, whether it's unmanned systems like MQ-9 Reapers or F-16s or some other capabilities to give them standoff air power so they can strike Russian targets as they advance on Ukrainian elements.
And we're now training for the first time 2 Ukrainian pilots on the F-16s here in the States.
Yeah, I think we're getting ready, Andrea, to evaluate their capabilities and figure out exactly what the right formation would be. But I think eventually the Biden administration is going to go there, because if we've seen one thing over the last year, Andrea, it's that so many of our red lines have become pink dotted lines and then clear lines. Every time we've said, well, we're not sure we want to give a capability to them, we've ultimately delivered. And I think one thing that we're not going to do in year 2 of this war is talk about things we're not going to do. We're going to hold all options on the table so that Russia understands that the West is unified and will defend Ukraine.
Jeremy Bash, as always, thank you so much.